Hello and welcome back to one of these unscripted, unsupervised, unrevised, unprepared videos in the car where I talk about whatever is on my mind. And I have just joined the National Home Counties car park, also known as the M25 motorway, which is actually moving at a fair pace. And by fair pace, I mean 44 miles an hour, which is not bad for 6:20 a.m. So there we go. Hopefully, after the next junction, it opens up a tad and we can get moving at the actual speed limits rather than, this crawling state for whatever reason. Why am I on the motorway this early, you might ask? That's a very good question. And I am on my way to do complete some training with a company that I'm fairly certain you've heard of, you've come across, and you have probably used their products. TP-Link, also known as Twisted Pair Link, although that's a name they've dropped for about 20 plus years. It's now just TP-Link. Any like cheap networking Wi-Fi extender stuff and routers and whatever that you see in supermarkets and wherever, it probably has a TP-Link badge on it. But that's not what I'm concerned with, because the consumer grade TP-Link stuff, it's still crap. I still shit on it every day. Even their old Wi-Fi extenders, like, they are fairly terrible. The power line extenders, they're good to get you out of trouble, but they're not brilliant. They do fail. Now, what I'm more concerned with is their enterprise networking gear. Although specifically today, the CCTV half of this new enterprise networking journey that they're on. So in the last few years, since about 21, 22, they've really been spending a lot of time and money on actually revamping their image in front of professionals or professional installers and network administrators and just people who like to use or need to use high-end networking gear. Pardon me. Up until 5 or 6 years ago, the only choice of TP-Link equipment you had was what's now basically their consumer grade stuff. Run-of-the-mill Wi-Fi routers, Wi-Fi extenders, boosters, and a whole smattering of dumb switches and the occasional what they call easy smart switch, which has a level of management on there, but you can't really do all that much with it. Having said that, even the fully managed switches are not massively expensive, which means you can offer some fairly complicated networking solutions for not a lot of money. So one example of that I have is a couple of years ago, I had to create a setup where there were two buildings linked by a single Cat6 cable. Each building had its own internet connection. So the main building had incoming BT, DSL, slow as you like, Turtle connection. The other building had a slightly more modern wireless Starlink Rabbit connection. And the brief was basically that the two buildings had to share an internet connection, so there was failover, so that the internet connection was generally speedier in both buildings, but at the same time they also have to share network resources. Specifically, some AV devices had to be essentially contactable between the two buildings. that and some storage devices. So normally for doing that kind of thing, the easiest way to do it is you have a dedicated Ethernet cable for your internet supply in both directions, probably just a router in one of the buildings, and then I spoke too soon about this car park malarkey. We're down to a touch over 20 miles an hour, and I see brake lights everywhere. Well, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, so normally you'd up the cabling, but if you're in a situation where additional cabling is not an option, which was very much the case here, because everything had been closed up and backfilled, and there was no scope for a like a point-to-point link between the buildings, mainly because of aesthetics. They didn't want to see anything else. They didn't want to have the visual burden of like a point-to-point building wireless link. My sinuses are a bit swollen this morning, apparently. Anyway, so yeah, single Cat6 between two buildings, each of their own internet connection, but needing to share resources, and with the use of a couple of TP-Link managed switches, and a collection of 3 routers. Obviously one of them was BT, one of them was Starlink, and then the third one was, at the time I couldn't really decide on a good TP-Link router to sort of deal with what was going on, and I'm using a Unity, I was going to say Ubiquiti Unify gateway of sorts, and yeah, the long and short of it is, the actual equipment, the TP-Link managed switching, cost, I think it was £120 for the 2, so like not massively expensive, and the actual setup on site was, I don't know, maybe an hour from unboxing to plugging in and powering up and, you know, having things up and running. And then once everything is plugged in, it's just a case of obviously starting things up in the right sequence so that all your VLANs and all the devices are caught by the correct VLANs first and the correct router, so you don't have like the Starlink or the BT router start dishing out IP addresses to various things. So the sequence is basically turn on the main router first, the Ubiquiti, then you turn on the 2 trunk switches, and then beyond that you can turn on everything else in whatever order you want. Generally I then turn on the Starlink, then the BT, and then all the rest of the switches. And for reference, this particular project has, I think there's about 14 switches in total, and only 2 of them are unmanaged. No, 3 of them are unmanaged. So yeah, there's a lot of clever networking going on there. It's quite a big sprawling system, with Wi-Fi everywhere and cameras everywhere. It's, yeah, high demand, that kind of thing. But the fact is, with TP-Link gear, I was able to offer a solution that has been running solid for 2 years without any fault at all, which is amazing given the price. Whereas if you were to, I looked at something similar using Ubiquiti gear, but I couldn't find a definitive guide for setting up exactly what I wanted to set up using Ubiquiti stuff. So the fact of the matter is, it just wasn't straightforward, which is weird for starters, because, you know, you'd like to think it should be easy. I'm sure maybe with the current version of the network admin side of things it would be easier, but back then it wasn't as simple as doing it with TP-Link, setting up VLAN trunk, and sharing connections over a single Cat6. And it's not like there's like any speed restrictions either. The Starlink on a good day runs at 300 megabit per second, and you get that everywhere, even on Wi-Fi, provided obviously you're standing close enough to the Wi-Fi access point. That 300 meg on a good day is achievable. So it's a good solution. Anyway, so I digress. Only slightly. So about a year ago, I attended another lot of training at TP-Link, specifically for their enterprise networking and Wi-Fi stuff, which is all well, good and fun. It was a bit boring, if I'm honest, because it's something I've done a million times over. The practical side of it was something I've done many times over, like coming from network admin backgrounds and having set up hundreds of networks in the past. It was a bit mundane, but it did mean that I was able to finish ahead of everyone else and actually had a good chat with one of the lead design engineers for TP-Link UK, and he's very much involved in the actual nitty-gritty designs of how their switches and routers and Wi-Fi access points work, what features they have, what features they don't, etc. And I mean, there are some features in the routers that have been standard from the get-go that some Ubiquiti routers have only recently added. So that goes to show that they're not afraid to sort of give you maximal features in equipment. I don't know whether it's to try and gain trust or whatever, or try and build a customer base, but obviously anyone who's ever used Ubiquiti stuff will know if it's something new, it can fail often, especially if it's new firmware or new software or new network platform. Anyone who's used the new Ubiquiti Network OS platform will know that there are many crashes occurring. It doesn't work smoothly yet, even though Ubiquiti are trying to push everyone away from the network application and onto the Network OS platform. So with TP-Link, the Armada interface, I remember when that was first released, it was a pixel by pixel copy of the then Ubiquiti Unify SDN interface, and though it was funny, it made using it really, really easy because I already knew where everything was. So literally you log in and it's like, oh, this looks like Unify. Okay, I know exactly where all the settings are I need to change, and then you can get up and running really quickly. Since then, they have majorly changed how it looks. So the TP-Link Armada interface is a world of difference compared to 5 years ago. They've very much made it their own, and if you use the top tier version of it, there's 3 different types of the management interface. So the most basic is a cloud-based one that's freely available, and you have access to, I think it's about 30% of the tools and features and settings, which is enough for 99% of your setups. So if you're just doing run-of-the-mill Wi-Fi setups and nothing terribly complicated, then the free cloud-hosted version is more than enough. You can do everything on there. You need to set up your Wi-Fi. You can do some clever bits with channels and optimizations. You can do some IP MAC binding if need be. There's all the basic stuff you would expect from like let's call it an entry-level managed network. Especially if you have a managed network switch in the mix, that does make it more useful. And then obviously if you use one of their routers, even more so. Then the next level up is a paid cloud hosted version, which is basically the full-fledged. You can do whatever you want, however many times you want, with as many devices as you want, no holds barred, and then you just pay a monthly fee. I don't know what the monthly fee is, but there is a monthly fee attached to that. If you don't want to pay the monthly fee, you can actually buy one of their little Armada controllers that you plug into your local network, and that hosts the management software, which is okay, but if you have to have one of them for every single project you have, it adds to the costs, and eventually it's just more devices to cater to, especially if you've only got a small setup. I issued once where it was a very small setup, 5 access points, 1 switch, and a couple of other devices, and I was 1 PoE port short of being able to leave the Armada controller plugged in. So I had to do the setup with some devices disconnected and then remove the Armada controller afterwards. And then in the meantime, I had reset that controller and I had lost the password and couldn't set it back up, and I'd lost the backup, so I ended up having to reset the whole network anyway when I moved on to the cloud-based controller. So that was an interesting one, but at least it was a simple network, so the cloud-based management side was more than enough. Here we are. Still stopping and going. If I don't suppose you can keep track of where we are, not unless you have very intricate photographic knowledge of where we are. We're only just approaching the A22, so I joined the M25 with the A21. We're only just approaching the A22 exit, or junction 6, and it's already been, I don't know, 15 minutes. Oh yeah, well, as long as the video's been going. Yeah, nice one. Fuck, like, I should be having the camera facing that way, because that guy nearly just got double-ended. Yeah, see? Some people are fucking idiots. Actually, well, some people, most people. I can be too. Anyway, I'm going to move away from the TP-Link and networking topic for now. I'll move on to idiots, or more so idiots who, the hoarder type. They don't see the wrong in they're doing, or that they don't see what they're doing wrong, or they don't quite understand why. Well, you know what they say about retarded people? They don't know they're fucking retarded. So at work, at my where my office is, there is a shared car park. I say shared car park for everyone who rents an office from the landlord, plus one other business who technically are allowed to use 2 spaces, but they've also dumped a van that they no longer use and are showing no intention of moving the bloody thing. And then top that off with, it's also shared with one resident, or I should say one residential property, so husband and wife, and between them they have several cars. Now, as far as the landlord is concerned, they should only be able to park 2 cars there. They've got 2 permits, one for each of their vehicles. The rest of them can go fuck, quite frankly. But that's not the case. And the man of the house, big man, I'll call him. I won't reveal his name. I've yet to call him out on how big he's feeling after his recent stint of actions. He thinks he's doing good. His main vehicle is a slammed caddy van, and he thinks it's cool. All the arches are rusted out. He's about 55. Obviously services his own cars. Apart from that, so his wife has a Range Rover, one of those little hatchback Evoque things. Then he's also got a Volvo V60 or V40, which never moves. That's mostly dumped and currently blocks one of the doorways into the building that we use. And then there's also another Range Rover, like proper Range Rover. I think it's a Mark II or Mark III. I don't know. Range Rover's enough. That is sort of sitting there. Has been sitting there for a good 2 or 3 months now, doing nothing but taking up space. Which is annoying because the more space the fucker takes up, the more creative he has to get with his parking. And recently, so as you enter this car park in the far right corner, like right in front of you basically, there is a grey door, security door, which is the main entrance to the building where my business is based. And he used to have a habit of parking right up against the wall, like 2 inches away from the wall, which he thought was maximising space in the car park, but perfectly blocked view and access to my office. So when there have been times where I've had deliveries fail. I don't know how I should. Well, let's put it this way: delivery drivers fail to find the door to drop off deliveries, and rather than, I don't know, just throwing it over a random hedge, actually, cancel it, take it back. And then I get an email to say, oh, by the way, you've missed your delivery, we'll try again tomorrow. Oh yeah, when the fucking pricks park there again? Yeah, sure. So I remember one of the days I was looking at on one of the CCTV cameras, an Amazon delivery driver was wandering around this car park, I don't know, for about 3 minutes with packages under his arms. He was going to and fro, and he was trying to knock on some of the garages, and there's like a shutter door, but there was no one there. And eventually, in the corner of his eye, he spots the grey door, squeezes through the cars, knocks on the door, and I open the door, and there he was. And that kind of spurred me to just think, right, okay, enough is enough. Like, this guy needs to move his fucking van. So I left him a note on there. And said to him, look, can you please refrain from parking in front of the grey door? Business access is required Monday to Friday. If you've ever operated a business, especially one where you're relying on ordering equipment to resell and use it to install and whatever, you know how detrimental it is if you miss a delivery. The whole thing of timing deliveries well for like a just-in-time system, you need delivery drivers to be able to easily find where you are. So anyway, I left a note on his van, asked him, can you please not park here Monday to Friday? Don't care what you do at the weekends, just Monday to Friday leave the spot open, because his van, like I said, perfectly blocked the door. Even if it was parked 10 feet in front of it, as you enter the car park, you can't see this door. And at the time, there was another van that would block it from other angles. The other van has since moved, so it's a bit more visible, but now there's a new problem altogether. I won't get into that. And so on that day when I left that note, he apparently took personal offence to this. He came and knocked on the front door, had a look on his face as if I had come in his house on Christmas morning and pissed on the kids. And it's like, oh, you left this note in my van. I was like, yeah. Like you're blocking access to my business. I need to take deliveries, and even when I'm loading up my car with tools and stuff, I need access from the door to the vehicle. If I can't get through there with boxes and tools and stuff, it's no good for me. I explained this to him, and he didn't seem to get it at all. He was like, "Oh, well, you could have just come and said to me." I was like, "Yeah, but I don't have the time to fucking hunt you down, tell you and explain to you that you need to move your van. Me leaving a note there is the most efficient way I can get a point across." And fuck me, he basically ran away moping, like, like proper fucking tail between his legs, like dragging his ass on the ground, like, "Oh, you could have just come and said to me." It's like, no, mate, like, have some common fucking sense and see where there's a door. Don't park in front of the car. Anyway, so on top of that, I did say to him as well that the area in front of the door is going to be hatched off, like painted, to stop people parking there, because we need pedestrian access. And he asked me, "Oh, why are you going to do that? Like, you're losing parking space." Like, I don't care about the parking space. Like, I need deliveries to come in. I need a delivery driver to be able to enter the car park and immediately identify where my business is. Similarly, if I have a visitor, I need them to be able to see exactly where I am located. Like, you don't rock up at Sainsbury's and spend 10 minutes guessing where the fucking door is. Well, actually, at some Sainsbury's you do, or some supermarkets you do, but it's designed so that you enter a car park and you see where the door is, and you can enter the shop and go about your business. So if I'm not able to do that, then I don't have a business, and then I'm losing money. So he didn't seem to understand this. Anyway, so it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since that, and then yesterday, there was a lack of parking again because of dumped cars, and I parked in a position that I wasn't really blocking a garage, but if you wanted to take like a drag race into the garage, if you wanted to line up from 30 feet away to reverse into garage, then yes, from that perspective, I was blocking it, but you could get a car in and out of the garage, no problem. There was a massive space. So he goes and leaves a note on my car saying, "Please don't park here. I need access to my garage 24/7. Actually, mate, I've seen on the cameras, you only use that garage at weekends, you fucking prick. So, I'm not going to retaliate to him, though. Not unless he comes and raises his voice at me again, in which case I will gladly feed him a breaker bar sideways. But I've left it with the landlord for now. I've just said to him, "Look, you need to get these parking permits under control, because like bitches are running wild out here. There are 3 cars that are currently dumped, and because it's a private car park, there's nothing that can easily be done with it." I did say to the landlord, "If there's anything I can do on your behalf, I'll gladly go and do so. Like, throw me some clamps. I'll go and I'll go clamp some cars if need be. I don't care. I'll fucking do it. Either that, or maybe I'll just go get a pallet truck and start moving the cars around. Every car that's dumped, I'll just move into a corner and pile them all up and just be like, come and collect your car at the end of the week." Anyway, so yeah, there we are. My throat's dry now. I've had a bit of a rant. We're a half hour in. which is more than enough. This is an interesting flavour. Cosmic Rainbow. No idea what that flavour is. But it's something. It's got a bit of caffeine in there. Got a long drive ahead of me. In fact, I don't even know how far this drive is today. I want to say it's like a 180-mile round trip where I'm going. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to end there because I've imparted enough knowledge. I've imparted enough of a rant. And I'm sure you've heard enough of me for now. And yeah, everyone who has subscribed thus far, like, thank you so much. Like, I'm literally the worst YouTuber. I upload videos that are of interest to me, you know, things that I like doing and things that I like talking about, unlike the general the everyman YouTuber who picks a niche or an interest of his audience or her audience or whatever, and they just aim to entertain you. I'm using this channel more to document what I do, what I did, my life, I suppose, my hobbies, so that in 20 years' time, my kids and my grandkids can rewatch these videos and be like, oh shit, that's what Grandad used to get up to back in the day. Because I'll tell you what, if such technology existed for my parents and my grandparents to be able to thoroughly document what they did and what they used to get up to, honestly, I would binge watch that stuff monthly, again and again and again, because I've heard some of the stories. I would like to see the live action version, you know, and that's something we kind of take for granted. We have this technology, this ability to document our lives for our future generations, and no one does it. Like, yeah, some people obviously record videos and photos on their phones and that, then with modern technology you can upload it to the cloud or back it up to the cloud, but still most people don't pay for premium services, and when it gets full they delete all the older stuff. But that's the most valuable. Like, the older the video and the photo is, like, that's what you're going to want to see in 10, 20, 30 years. So yeah, anyone who's a subscriber, thank you very much. With a bit of luck, eventually YouTube might pay me for actually just being me on YouTube, but what's the word I'm looking for, as opposed to being just an entertainer. Because at heart, I'm not an entertainer. It's not something I do. It's, you know, my wife will attest to the fact that I'd sooner spend an hour alone in the room than entertain strangers, and essentially that's what you are to me. I'm sorry, that's just a fact of life, fact of YouTube, I suppose. And there I go again, talking about shit. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Got services coming up in a minute. I might stop for a coffee. Made it to Cobham in not bad time, so I can't complain too much. Very nice. Okay guys, bye. If you're new, please subscribe or leave a like, leave a comment, you know, leave your worst idiot incident comment. Although they seem to congregate in car parks, so yeah, I don't know what that means, but there's some correlation there, which is interesting and annoying, because sometimes you just want to be able to park up and be done with things and not have to deal with idiots.